Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our NLG live stream. Mr. Lee would like to send the NLG energy to our beloved audience. When he says start, please look into the middle of his forehead and imagine you are receiving energy into your forehead. Just relax and let this loving energy absorb through your body for 5 minutes and 30 seconds until Mr. Lee says done.
Trong sự kiện hợp nhất tình thương kiến tạo hạnh phúc của NLG, mời quý cô bác anh chị cùng đón nhận những năng lượng an lành từ chú Phúc. Khi chú Phúc nói bắt đầu, quý cô bác anh chị nhìn vào trán của chú Phúc, hình dung nhận năng lượng từ trán của chú vào trán của quý cô bác anh chị và để năng lượng tự lan tỏa cho đến khi chú Phúc thông báo hết giờ.
To get yourself ready to receiving the energy. I begin now. Và chúng ta bắt đầu. All right, thank you for joining with us. We'll see you next time. Xin kính chào tất cả cô bác anh chị em và hẹn gặp lại trong một chương trình kế tiếp. Xin chào tạm biệt. Bye bye.
Okay, so welcome everyone to level 2 NLG. This will be conducted in English. And so for those of you who've already known me since level 1, that's great. But for those who perhaps this is your first level 2 and you've already in level 2 and now you're coming back to, let's say, revise or to retake this level 2, then my name is Isbalaha and I will be your level 2 instructor for today. So I hope that everyone can hear me nice and clear. Let me just double check. Okay, so I think that we're all set. And so we're off to a great start for this class because Mr. Lay just transmit healing energy to everyone. And I hope that you've already received that. So now let's dive into level 2's content. I hope that you've had a great time practicing level 1's formula. And so I would like to start off by asking you a few questions. So feel free to pop your respond in the chat box and to share your practice experience, as well as if you have any question about level 1 formulas or the way that you've been practicing, then you can also pop that in the chat box as well. And I'll be looking at everyone's comment. Now, a few questions from previous classes that people often ask is that, why do I feel sleepy after completing level 1 and while I practice level 1 formulas? So well, first of all, if you do feel sleepy, then try to fight that urge. Please don't fall asleep, of course. And I know that it can be very difficult at first to focus and try to practice within 5 minutes and 30 seconds, but you can certainly power through it. And there's a few reasons as to why you might feel sleepy. So first of all, you might be lacking in energy. So when you come in and practice NLG, then it comes in to support you, and your body, your system starts to relax. And so what you can do is you can just keep practicing to get your energy up, and you won't feel sleepy when you practice later. And also make sure to take good care of yourself, get enough sleep, because it does help. Okay. And a very similar question from a lot of people is that I find it very difficult to focus while I practice. So how do I improve my focus? And the answer is really it comes with practice. You'll get better and better at it as you go. So at first you might find that you can only focus for a very short amount of time. But as you continue to practice and you build for yourself that discipline, turn it into a good habit of practicing, then later on you will have no trouble focusing. Okay, but it is something that comes with practice, of course. Okay, I'll just have a look through to see if there's any question. So feel free to pop in your question, or if there's anything that you'd like to share about your level 1 practice, then you can just write it down and post it in the chat box of this live stream. Now, just a few notes about practice NLG as a method is that you do need to be very honest in this learning process. So whether you pay attention or you get distracted during class, or whether you didn't receive all the activation, but you still practice the formulas, etc., you're the only one who know better about what happened and what you did and what you should do. So certainly we'll leave that for you to decide. It's all about, being really aware of how this operate as a method, and it's really important that you practice correctly. And so just one more thing is that if you need to rewatch the previous classes, for example, you want to deepen your understanding, you want to revise, you can certainly do that. You can find the previous class live stream on YouTube and Facebook. However, the energy activations, they are only valid when you receive them in real time. So that means that during the live stream, when it is actually live, so you can't receive it when you rewatch the video. Okay, so I hope that that makes it clear. And when you practice the stem cells stimulation formula, if you don't feel warmth, you can practice again up to 3 times a day, remember, from the notes that I hand out in the Telegram groups. And sometimes it is because of your sensor system. Somehow got damaged along the way that you don't know. So the thing is, don't stress about that. If you practice and you don't feel warmth, don't stress, just keep practicing and you will notice health improvement. So that's another indicator for you to look at and for you to pinpoint whether your practice is actually working. And gradually you will feel that warmth that we've been talking about. And actually there is an NLG participant who shared with us that it took him 8 months to feel the warmth during his practice. So patience is key, and certainly it's really, really important to practice the formula consistently. Okay, now some people don't feel anything while they practice, but then some people do feel extremely hot. During the practice. So that also an indicator of lacking in energy. So what you can do is you keep practicing to get your energy level up that matches with the current class level that you are in, that you've already been activated. And you'll notice that you will not feel that hot anymore after you practice for a while, but instead a really comfortable warmth. It's not hot, but it's warmth. And then you know that you improve tremendously when you feel slightly cool. Okay, not cold, but slightly cool. So there are generally 3 stages that people go through if you are able to feel energy in your body. These 3 stages, but not limited to, are hot, warm, and cool. So do keep that in mind. And some okay, sorry everyone about that. We just had some technical issues. I hope that everyone's still here and still very patient. We are going to resume on this live stream link. Okay, so I think I was just talking about the 3 stages that often people will go through when they practice NLG, and that is hot, warm, and cool. And you can also notice health improvements. That is one of the more common indicator of whether your practice is effective or not, because sometimes people don't really feel hot or warm or cool because their sensory system may be damaged in some way. And also you may notice that when you first practice NLG, or when you transition from level 1 to the next level, for example, you're now taking level 2, and your conditions may seem a little bit more apparent when you first practice, when you first transition into level 2. For example, you feel slightly more painful, but don't stress about that and keep practicing, and that experience, that feeling would disappear after a few days, because that indicates the impact of energy coming in to support the cells in your body, and the cells are certainly doing their work at a high capacity, and you feel those differences in your body quite apparent. Okay, and remember that if you don't remember the wording to the formula, if you first come in, then you can always practice reading the formulas. So because when you practice, you have your eyes open, so you can read the formula as you go, and keep practicing, and you will learn and you will remember the formulas eventually. Okay, so I just check the internet and everything is still good. All right, brilliant. Now, in terms of the class content for today, so let's have a look. It is quite similar to level 1's content, and we will talk a little bit more in depth about some of these points. And while we continue to, of course, explore some examples that are very relevant to everyone's daily life, we will talk about the formulas. There are a few more formulas that's different from level 1. And we will receive the energy frequency activation. And that's the only way that you will then practice level 2 formulas. You really need that energy activation. So if you join this class, you'll listen to all the content, but then you miss out on the energy activation for some reason, then you have to wait until we have another level 2 class. And you join in that one, you receive the activation, and that is the way to go. So in the meantime, just continue with level 1 formula. If you miss out on level 2 activation, I hope that no one will miss out on level 2 activation today. And I hope that everyone here is taking this class very seriously. You're here with a genuine interest to learn about NLG. And remember that here at NLG, when we talk about love and morality, we don't mean that you have to do something, fancy or, something that is out of your reach, or, having loving and caring thoughts for others. It's not just about that, but instead we are looking for behaviors, responses, mindset, etc., that occurs in our everyday life. And it's not enough just to have kind thoughts. It's necessary to exercise the love and the morals quality that you have through the things you do with other people, to other people, the words that you choose to say to other people, your willingness and control over your +1 - 1 frequency without demanding other people to have to change themselves. Okay, so I will now share the slides here with you. And I will talk a little bit more about this because we just have a new term coming in for the logo. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, I'll try to share that again. Okay, I think we're good now. All right. So you will see here, I hope that you're still seeing this. Okay, so remember that the cosmic divine light logo represent the love, the light that embraces all being, and that wisdom. So it's basically provides us with lesson, with knowledge, the things that we need to know in order for us to thrive. And then that wisdom, it's being displayed by different projects that are available at NLG Energy University to enable benefits for all of us to create materials, abundance. And when we have material support, we have health, we have wisdom, we can then build a truly loving home. And of course, when we can build a living home for ourselves and other people can too, then we'll have an entire society of loving homes. So the loving home logo points to the possibility of having just that. So where people really connects genuinely with love, with respect, and for a home to truly be a home. So you will also notice here that in the middle, under the NLG Energy University logo, we do have a sentence that said an ascended civilization. Now, at this level, I would just talk briefly about that. And what it means is that is a way for us, it's like the rules that we go by for ourselves to enable love, morals, quality in the ways that we live our life, and fairness, justice, so that everyone around us can be happy when they implement those rules for themselves. Okay, so at this foundation level, I will leave it at that. And if you choose to proceed with high class level, then of course, Mr. Lee will go through a lot more with you. Now, gradually, we will guide you through to find a technique to live and build an ascended civilization. So once again, to live with genuine gratitude and peace, because we cannot live without any discipline, without any direction. So you need to know and you need to adhere to the principles of NLG to harness this energy source. Much like when you live in a country, you need to follow that country's rules. And you can't say that you do things in your own ways, because as a species, we are related to one another. We connect to each other and we live in a community together. So same thing when we try to harness this energy, and this energy is for everyone. So you need to head towards an ascended civilization in order to do that. And of course, practice and follows the formulas as you go. Certainly don't change it. Don't improvise on your own. And if you do that, then you'll find that you won't be, very successful with NLG if you improvise and you change the formulas and you don't adhere to the principles of NLG. And so especially when you are in level 1 and 2, it is essential to get these foundation levels right at the very beginning. Okay. All right. Now talking a little bit more about the 3 big issues for humanity. So we've already talked about this in level 1 and the need to maintain and practice the 5 forms of love and morality in order to tackle these problems. Remember that when you are activated, even when you have this energy to apply, but for some reason, if you decide that you don't want to practice love and morality anymore, then of course that won't work. And you cannot come in to receive activation and then take this energy to do whatever you wish, particularly if it's not for good intention. So it only works when you put genuine love and morals quality in the things that you do. So now that you understand why Mr. Lay often say that you cannot get away with doing bad things, and certainly you cannot cheat when it comes to practicing NLG. And even though we do talk about love, we know that we need to practice love, but how many of us have actually done that? And if you do, then what percentage? Because think about the time, from the time that you finished level 1, so from that day all the way until now, what have you done differently to show love to yourself and your family? Because remember that we will be, working on the 5 forms of love and starting off with the first one and the second one in level 1. And so just think about that, right? Now, some people, even though their conditions are not that severe, but they mistakenly think that they can get activated for the sake of just receiving the activation. And then they can continue to rely completely on Mr. Lay's or other people's healing support without at least practicing the stem cell stimulation formula, or to practice love and morals values in a daily basis. And the problem with that is when you rely on other people and you don't exercise your love and your morals quality, and certainly when you come in here but you don't really have a genuine interest to learn, let's say you put forth reasons such as I'm very busy, I don't have time for this, then at the end of the day, that's where you miss out on the opportunity to do something amazing for yourself. Because no one can practice the stem cell stimulation formula for you. Remember that No one needs to know whether you practice or not. Because if you don't practice, then you just don't practice and you don't have to report that to people. It's about your own journey. It's your self-awareness, being proactive in your own practice. So this is for you. This is your benefit of practicing these formulas and exercising love and morality. And it's really important for us to practice the formula so that we can support our stem cell, because they are the ones who will heal us with this energy. Remember how I said that they're part of you and you need to cooperate with them to improve your health? So before we didn't really know about this. But now, not only that we have the energy source that enable just that, but also very, very specific formulas for you to practice. So what are the reasons for not practicing, right? And especially when it is free for you to practice every single day to stimulate your stem cells. And the thing is, I am not saying this to pressure you to have to practice, because you need to understand why is it significant for you to practice. You need to really embrace it and be passionate about practicing this method. Because after level 2, even though the formulas might seem a little similar for you, but the energy is certainly upgraded. So if level 1 is like finally getting connected to Wi-Fi, let's say you started off with 2G or something like that, then level 2 is like getting upgraded to 3G. So remember how you can only heal your family when you're in level 1, but in level 2, you can go beyond that. Of course, still within the boundary of level 2, but you will certainly be upgraded in terms of your energy. So in order to keep up with that upgrades of energy, your understanding, your practice of love and morality needs to match accordingly. They also need to be upgraded. Now, if you don't use this time to practice and maintain love, morality, +1, -1 frequency, it's going to be quite challenging for you when you reach level 3, because you may not feel a lot of improvement and you'll feel frustrated with your own process, and you will see a lot of discrepancies in your own practice versus others. The outcomes that you wish for may not be maximized. So you might see that while other people are very successful in the things that you do, in the things that they do with NLG, but on the other hand, you yourself, when you don't do it correctly, you will experience very little difference. So it could be that with mild conditions, they do improve, but severe condition will not if you don't regulate yourself and do as you are instructed. So it's good if you can build a schedule for yourself, having that discipline in your practice, much like everything else that you learn, and you need to put in the effort and willingness to, of course, practice accordingly. Okay, so talking about the brain and the universe. Sorry, everyone, I'll just quickly find this slide so that I can show you. So talking about the brain and the universe, sorry, my internet is not working with me today. Just be a little bit more patient. All right, probably we don't need that slide. I'll just share it with you. So we know that even the smartest of us only probably use up to 10%, probably 7 to 10. And our brain is much like a mini universe, if you think about it, and if you have a look at this topic. And you need to be in the frequency that matches you with that frequency. with the energy source, and that is the +1 -1 frequency. So when you are in this what we call +1 -1 frequency, then the cells in your body will be able to develop and upgrade accordingly. So for example, you'll find that it takes you less time to do the same task, and you can do it more effectively than before when you keep practicing accurately, adequately, and consistently. And I'm sure that you've had moments where all of a sudden you have really brilliant ideas and they're so effective and they save a lot of time. So imagine what it's like if that happens every single day for every single task that you wish to do. The effectiveness that save you time, and things just come easier and enable in a much easier way for you. That will be wonderful and marvelous. So don't waste your opportunity to practice, because the cells in your body need to be taken care of every day. When you're able to upgrade your brain, it's like going from 2G, 4G, 5G, and once you're on 5G, you don't want to go back down to 3G anymore. And you will feel the changes every single time you get activated for a different class. So the +1 -1 frequency is something that you have to regulate by yourself. And I've mentioned this, we've talked about this. And as an NLG instructor, I can only help to activate your brain cell and stem cell, but I cannot regulate your +1 -1 frequency for you. Some people continue to take NLG classes, but find very limited improvements because they don't connect to the energy source from outer space properly. So what we need to do is to understand the principles to get there and get the most out of these techniques. And the technique that is love and morality. So after level 1 and 2, you will observe improvements, not just with your health, but also in your social life, in the relationship that you have with other people. Because if you learn to be a kind, friendly, caring, loving person, and you keep your composure when you encounter every situation, you remain unaffected by the things that are happening around you, then your relationship with other people will subsequently improve. And keep in mind the laws of karma, because what goes around comes around. And you cannot really get away with doing the wrong things. And of course, on the other hand, if you do good things, the right things, then of course you get rewarding outcomes. Now, if you ask, why is it that I've been doing all of these good things, but I still don't see anything that is good coming my way? I can only tell you that what goes around comes around. And it's not just within this life, but in the many lives that you've served. And it's better to just do the good things right now, save up your good karma credits, as we've talked about in level 1, rather than calculating whether you should be getting the rewards or not, and why this happened, why that happened. As we get to high class levels here at NLG, you will know more about this when Mr. Lei give you more explanations regarding this topic. And so just remember that your calculation of what should and what shouldn't happen, it's not as accurate as the one that's set up for you by the outer space civilization. And for that reason, because we are uncertain, we know everything around us, of course. So the bottom line is we should all just be thankful for the things that are happening around us. And we need to learn to always do that, because things goes on around us. They're nonstop. And when everything is fine, then you might think, I'm okay, and I am I am a very calm person. But when something does happen to you or to someone that you know, or just to someone that you can observe and you can witness directly or indirectly affects you, instead of reacting in ways that you would normally do, that you consider calm and loving, maybe you would respond in a much more emotional, reactive way. So really consider those situations an opportunity for you to test your practice of love and morality instead of viewing them negatively. And you really need to look back and see what you did, learn to be content with how things are right now, learn to solve it in loving ways if you do encounter conflicts in your day-to-day life, because things happen for a reason. It could be a test for you. It could also due to karmic consequences, and the topic of karmic consequences will be explored in more details in level 3, but you need to enhance your understanding to prepare for that. So coming to NLG level 2, your love needs to be extended to more people. And as a matter of fact, we need to, already been working on the third forms of love, which is love for country. Our love needs to be elevated and improved. And let me just share with you again. These 5 forms of love, just a reminder for everyone. Okay, so here it is. Because in level 2 energy frequency, with this energy frequency, you will be allowed to heal people outside of your family, and even from afar. So be it through video calls or directly, and it is also possible for you to heal a range of different illnesses, for you to work on these miracles that a lot of energy practitioners have experienced. And of course, you can certainly experience this for yourself and for other people. So you can actually reach out and support. Now, but if your love is too little, let's say if words or an action can already upset you, then that's when you know that you still need to practice a lot more, and you need to enhance your love and morals quality. But if your love for yourself, your family, and your country, and humanity, and ultimately all beings are big enough for you to forgive, for you to understand and treasure all that happens around you, then I'd like to congratulate you, because you'll be very successful with the techniques of NLG. But then you need to certainly maintain those elements and upgrade them as you go. Okay. So let's go through the +1 -1 frequency again. So let's say if you are in a negative state, be it anger, resentment, self-blame, etc., then you are actually distancing yourself from the safe zone, that is the +1 -1 frequency. So whatever happened, you need to take responsibility, and you need to face the things that are happening to you in a calm, loving manner still, in order for you to maintain that connection. And you might ask yourself, what have I done to deserve this? Why is this happening to me? We know that karmic consequences are not only relevant to this life, but many lives that you have had. And the outer space civilization oversee everything, and they evaluate everything, not for us to criticize that it is unfair, but for us to recognize how our lives operate. And of course, they don't just record down all the bad things that you do, but an equal amount of the good things as well, if you've been doing good things. And right now, we encourage that you do the good things to show love and have moral qualities, alongside with practicing NLG. And keep practicing, and you realize that NLG can help you to do great things. It is a method for you to really have the ability to reach out and support a lot of people, to save good karma credits, because NLG is about love and morality. So for example, you meet someone who suffers from an illness and they ask you for help, and they know about NLG, let's say, then with this energy source, you can Sorry again, everyone. My internet is not working well today. But I think this is also a test on my love and morals quality and my +1 -1 frequency as an instructor. So let's keep going. Okay, so I hope that you catch everything that I share with you about +1 -1. All right. Now, some people, when they come to NLG and they want to learn NLG to explore this method, and they have very genuine intention, then they match with a +1 -1 frequency more easily, which means that they get access to the energy more strongly. And with that, they heal more quickly compared to some people who are still a little skeptical, perhaps trying to interpret energy from just one perspective and even denial it, unwilling to open up their heart and their mind to learn this. Or, in some cases, people do have pretty strong opinions towards NLG, and that wouldn't be effective when you come in with, that sort of mindset. But it doesn't mean that you're left out, because as soon as you change yourself, you change your perspective, to look at this with a very genuine interest to learn, you practice the love and morality, then you come in and you still get connected to this energy. And what matters is how you change since you started with NLG. So if you do it right, you will observe very clear changes. So what I would suggest is trying to take a photo of yourself today and then compare it a couple of months later. Just take a photo, say, every 2 weeks or something, and try to pinpoint those differences as you go. And also do have trust in, the outer space civilization for being absolutely fair with everyone, because we are loved equally. We deserve that. And we're also very capable of loving as a community, as individuals. So in order to get what we are designed to have, meaning the best, the most loving version of us, that is a living home, then we need to match our love with that of the outer space civilization, our creator. So when we talk about our creator, we don't mean in a religious way, no, but it is about enhancing our wisdom, our understanding, which subsequently enable practice. So to know more about this, you certainly need to go to a higher class levels, and particularly when you practice the formula, you trust your own process and you feel the differences in your physical and mental health, then I guess you feel more motivated to come in and learn more about this. And there are certainly things that we do not know, that we're not aware of in this life, but karmic consequences do follow us in the many lives that we serve. So instead of ruminating about what is fair, what is not, I suggest that you start working on showing love and kindness to other people around you, to all beings, and be interested to explore NLG. Because fortune and luck and all of those good things result from our own actions. And when sharing these information, we have no intention to compete with other methods or other fields of study. We present this to you, this knowledge that is fundamental for the practice of NLG. So if you come in and learn this method, and if you wish to make the most out of it, then consider what we share with you in relation to these this method. Okay. All right, so I think we have about 40 minutes. Let's just get into the formulas, okay, so that I can activate you later on. So the formula set for level 2 is very similar to that of level 1, but the difference is in the energy frequency. So I just go through with you. I'll just go through these formula. We'll start off with the stem cell stimulation, because remember that after level 1, after level 1 or day 1, level 1, then we no longer have that brain cell activation. We no longer practice that. And then after today, you will no longer practice the level 1 formulas anymore, because you have your level 2 formula set that you will be using. So this is the stem cell. Okay, let me just. All right, so this is the stem cells stimulation formula here. So please have a look through this formula when you practice it, and make sure that you practice in the exact way that it is instruct you. And if you, let's say, have vision impairment, or if you have eye-related conditions that prevent you from opening your eyes, then it is okay to close your eyes in those cases. But once again, it is very important that when we instruct people to open their eyes during the practice, that you do so. Oh, I just see a question here. Someone said that how many activation do we get today? So for today, for level 2, you will get 1 activation. And then we will practice the stem cells stimulation together. So you get the gist of how to practice it, and in terms of the timing and what it's like to feel the to feel the energy inside your body. Okay. And once again, we do have Telegram groups that you can ask questions. You can also reach out to us through our Telegram hotlines. So this is very similar to that of the level, to that of the level 1, okay? But you can see that this is certainly this is level 2. So in terms of the energy frequency, that will be different. And just note this practice duration according to age, okay? And then we have the self-healing. So once again, the stem cells and the self-healing, those are, the 2 really important formulas that you will be practicing every day for yourself. Okay, so self-healing, this is very similar to level 1 again, but of course with level 2 energy frequency. And please read through it very carefully before you practice. And I'll just go through, these formulas very quickly because they're quite similar to that of level 1, so that we can, move on to formulas that are new, and I'll explain those in a lot more detail. Okay, so this is the direct healing frequency. Now, for direct healing at level 2, of course, you can start healing other people outside your family. You can start supporting them, and however, it's really necessary to ask people before you support them, talk to them about it, whether it's your family member or other people around you. You always need to talk to them first. Now, in the case of a family member who lives very far away, or if they're very busy, that they're okay receiving the energy, but they're just very busy, and you would still like to send energy to them with all of your love, then you can, okay? You can do that, but without actually, talking to them, in depth about what you're going to do. You can still do that for a family member, but it is still better that they know and they're on board with you about the practice, about the energy transmission. Because when you know that you're transmitting energy and they know that they're receiving energy, then the process would be a lot more effective. For people outside of your family, though, regardless of this situation, be it a friend or a colleague, etc., you need to ask them first and to inform them about how this works before you transmit energy to them. The reason is because when the recipient knows about the method, they actively receive energy as you transmit it. Okay, and it will be certainly more effective compared to when they don't know anything or they agree to receive energy, but deep down they're unsure just because they're your friend and they don't want to make you sad, for saying no. So in those cases, they can still receive the energy, but not a lot. If the recipient is not interested to receive energy, then please don't pressure them to do so, because it is direct healing in this case, so you will need to place your hands on the recipient's ERC, as you see on the picture there, which means you need to inform the participant that as well. So you need to tell them that you're going to put your hands on their ERC and you need to get their permission to do that. And as soon as you press the timer, you will go from step 1 all the way to the last step. And the majority of the practice duration will certainly be devoted to step 4, where you continuously direct energy as instructed here in the formula. Now, except for when you transmit energy to children from 0 to 3 years old, because the time for that session is quite short. So it is suggested that you go through step 1 and 2 first, and then as you get to step 3, that's when you press the timer. And then you can just set your timer anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute, and that is for 0 to 3 years old children. Now, this is the exciting part here, which is the indirect healing frequency, everyone. Okay, so remember how I said earlier that in level 2, not only that you can transmit energy directly, but indirectly, meaning that, from afar, from distance. So what this means is that you can transmit energy to a recipient from afar, including 3 of the following circumstances. Number 1 is through a phone calls with or without a front camera, with or without a front camera turning on. For example, through a video call, through Zoom, and so that's where you have the camera on, or through a normal phone call. So there's no video and you can only hear each other. Okay, you can certainly transmit energy to people, in these cases. Now, circumstance number 2 is through an arranged time, and that is without any picture at all. It could be that, let's say you and the recipient cannot find the time to call each other, or due to different time zone between countries and things like that. So you can make an appointment, you can make, you can talk to them and transmit energy to them. For example, at 8 a.m., you say to the recipient that I will transmit energy to you at 8 a.m. in the morning. And exactly at 8 a.m., you start transmitting energy. And the recipient, because they know that you're transmitting energy, they can start receiving energy at 8 a.m. as well. And you just, and they can just visualize the transmitter and continuously receive energy in ways that are noted here in the formula. Now, while that happens, the transmitter will certainly go through from step 1 to step 4 using this indirect healing formula on the screen here. The third situation is through pictures. So you can ask the recipient for their photo and you can transmit energy to them accordingly. Now, this is particularly useful when the person is in a coma. Let's say the family comes to you and asks you for help, then you ask for the person's picture, and then you transmit energy to them accordingly if they're in a coma and you can't talk and you can't do video call with them. And if they have no consciousness, then that's the way to do it. So it's very similar to the direct healing, but this time it is indirect. And so keep in mind to read all of these notes here. So level 2 participants are not yet ready to support patients with neurological diseases. When performing healing on another person, both transmitter and recipient need to maintain a state of mindfulness. The transmitter closes their eyes, the receivers open their eyes, focuses on the transmitter forehead, and visualizes receiving the energy to ailing areas. If there are many, just visualize receiving the energy to the ERC and the entire spine. Before supporting another person with serious illnesses, the transmitter must feel warmth for 5 minutes and 30 seconds during the practice of stem cell stimulation formula. Indirect healing is done one-on-one only, and you can support people once a day per person. For those with severe condition, you may support twice a day with 6 hours apart. Now, this practice duration here is according to the recipient's age, okay? It's not your age, it's not the transmitter's age, but it's the recipient's age. So let's say you practice this formula and you transmit energy to a 4-year-old child, then that will be 1 minute and 30 seconds. But if you transmit energy to someone who's 20 years old, meaning above 18 years old, then it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And we also note down, of course, the 3 options here for you where you can use this indirect healing. Now, some people might ask, how do I transmit energy to the recipient if I cannot see them? So you direct energy through your thoughts and just recite in your head that you wish to transmit energy to that recipient. And if you see someone, so that is the way to go. Now, disclaimer, if you see someone on the news who, let's say, suffer from a condition of some sort, and you would like to reach out, please, we understand that you want to express your love and things like that, but please do not transmit energy to them out of sympathy unless the person's family contact you and they wish that you transmit energy to the patients, because consent is really, really important. Okay, so don't just transmit energy to random people, on the news and things like that. If you see that they're, needing help, and particularly it is really, once again, is really, really, really important that you follow the formulas and follow these notes and suggestion when you're at these foundation level, so that when you go to the high class level, then you would understand more of the things that you can and you can't do. Okay, so this is a really exciting formula here. Okay, so this is the encouraging family frequency. So first of all, of course, you go through all of these steps, and in step 1, remember that it's like a command, right? So you get the request, you get the command correct, and that is the first step for you. And you just recite silently once. So when you practice NLG formulas, there's no need to say things out loud, and there's no need to whisper. You can just recite them silently in your head. So you think about these steps in your head and sort of reading them out in your head, okay? So you go through step 1, then you go to step 2, receive energy into the brain of the transmitter. And of course, receive first time, second time, third time. And you will have 3 to 5 seconds each time in between. So please don't go receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. The way to do it is receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. Okay, so make sure that there's 3 to 5 seconds in between. And then in step 3, send energy from the brain of the transmitter, that is you, if you're practicing this formula, into the recipient's brain. So then you say send first time, send second time, send third time. And then in step 4, this is where you spend most of your time during the 5 minutes and 30 seconds of practice. That is, you will send encouraging messages to the recipient's brain. Keep transmitting messages continuously over and over until alarm rings. So note, you can only use this formula to encourage family members on both sides and those with a close and direct relationship with you. For example, parents, children, in-laws, co-workers. And it is possible to encourage many people in one session if if you transmit a common message. So if you send out a same message for, let's say, a group of people in your family, then that is okay. Let's say you have 3 children and all of them really, really like to play games, and they prefer that over study to the point where it's actually affecting them at school and their attention, or even, their daily life and the way that they interact with other people. Then if you want to send out a message to encourage them to minimize playing games, then, and for 3 of your children, then you can just do it in one session for all 3 of them. Now, if the encouraging messages is long, then you can write it down and you repeat it over a period of days until you see improvements. And when you perform this formula, you can open or you can close your eyes as the recipient or recipients are not sitting right in front of you. So example of a message include, let's say, about morals, quality, love, fairness, concern, take care of their own health, for them to quit drinking, quit smoking, quit playing video games. That's the example that I just give out to you. And it's only effective if the transmitter has achieved 5 minutes and 30 seconds of warmness during the stem cell stimulation practice. So when you practice level 2 formulas, make sure that you feel warmth. When you practice the stem cells stimulation formula, and that's when you know that you're ready. It's like a way for the cells in your body to let you know, they're informing you that you're ready to move on to the other formulas and to utilize them. So while we're on this formula, because this is something that I guess people will be very interested in. And so just a few notes about this is that you need to be the one to transmit energy and encourage your family members. Now, some participants, even though they're in level 3, they don't feel so confident, and they ask if other people or even an NLG instructor, can they encourage their family members for them? Now, that is not something that can be done because there is no relation between the transmitter and the recipient in that case. And also, you're encouraging messages, they need to be consistent. The content needs to be the same whenever you encourage them until you notice that they've changed, that there's differences in their behavior. And that's when you can stop and you can send other messages as you wish for them to adopt more, healthy habits. For example, you want your husband to quit drinking excessively because it has influenced your family, your children. And let's say there's a lot of problems arise due to his behavior. And so in that case, you can use this encouraging formula with the content that's appropriate to solve that issue so that he would, more likely to quit drinking. And you practice the formula until you see changes in his behaviors. And actually, this is a quite common example. A lot of energy practitioners have used this formula to help their loved one to cope and to ultimately quit unhealthy habits like, excessive drinking and things like that, to, work on themselves. And they report that, and there was this one case who report that one day their spouse told them that, they don't want to drink anymore because they feel nauseous whenever they drink, and they no longer enjoy, drinking excessively. And they would like to, be in a state that is sober, that is, fully conscious, and actually enjoy, to spend a lot more time with their partner, with their with their spouse and their children. And so they certainly have more control over their own actions. So think about this as a way to help your loved one to cope. Now, something really important to keep in mind, that when you use this formula, there is no need to tell people that you are using this formula on them. Now, if, for example, you talked to your husband before about quit drinking, and he still has control over his behavior, and he's actually actively working towards sobriety, and there's changes that's been made, then there's no issue, and you probably don't even need to use this formula. But in case where you have talked to them and you guys have tried many different ways to cope with the issue, and he doesn't want to quit drinking, sometimes you guys may even end up in pretty messy situations. It could be violence or something like that. Then you don't need to tell him that you're encouraging him using this energy, because it will just defeat the purpose of wanting to help him without having to talk to him, because of course you tried to talk to him about that and it didn't work. So if the talking does the job, then you wouldn't have to use this formula. Okay. But because in many cases the people in your family, they don't really listen and find it difficult to cope to these changes, and so that's when you would come in and use this formula. And also the picture here that you see on the screen here, it's only for you to visualize that you transmit energy to the person's brain. And certainly you don't need to sit in front of your loved ones or whoever it is that you're sending out encouraging messages to. It would be quite strange, right, for them to sit in front of you. And because you're a family, then you don't need a picture of them, because you know what they look like, you remember their face. So it's okay that you just sit in a very relaxed position and you just practice this formula by yourself, thinking about your loved ones, sending them that love and that you care, and for them, and truly wanting them to change, to be better. And also, when you practice this formula, not only that you need to feel warmth for 5 minutes and 30 seconds when you practice stem cell formula, but you really need to work on yourself first as well. And only then that you can encourage your loved one. If you haven't been doing the right things, then of course you won't get the good outcomes. You really need to be patient with the process as well. And remember that the messages that you use to encourage your loved one have to be positive, not invasive, not for ill intention. Because if you want to send out a message with bad intention, it doesn't match with the energy frequency of NLG, and therefore it cannot be done. For example, if you encourage your parents to give you more money so that you don't have to go and work, then nothing will happen, because that falls out, that's outside of the boundary of love and morality. So as you get to step 4, you may have lots and lots of time remaining. And when you already sort of read out the messages in your head once, and if there's still time, then you just repeat that message until the alarm rings. Okay. All right, so this is the hand position to support deafness. And basically what you do is that the steps are similar to direct healing formula. And while performing, the transmitter visualizes sending energy to the ears, the brain, and the entire spine. And also, you put your two hands on both ears of the recipients. Okay. That's very straightforward. And then this one's hand position for all vision impairments, eye-related conditions. So once again, the steps similar to direct healing. And while you perform this formula, the transmitter visualizes transmitting energy to the eyes, the brain, and the entire spine of the recipient. Gently place both hands on both sides of the person's temple, and the middle fingers on the end of the eyebrows of the receivers. Okay, so as you can see on the picture here. Now, if you ask, okay, so if you yourself have issues, say with deafness, vision impairments, or neurological conditions, and you want to heal yourself, first of all, if you have, say, vision impairment, when you heal yourself and you want to place your hand accordingly, then you take, and for example, if you wear glasses, then please take them off, during the energy transmission so that they're not in the way. But say if you have an eye-related condition, then the way that you would place your hand for yourself when you heal yourself is that you see, these three fingers, so, on both sides, and you put it like that. So at your brows bone, okay? So you put it like that very gently. There's no need to, press in, because later on, if you do that, you would become quite sore. So you do this, okay, for yourself. And for deafness, you would do this for your ears. Okay, so once again, place them there very gently. And remember that if you do have an eye-related condition, you need to also work on a balanced routine to take care of yourself and to make sure that your eyes have, times off from using computer or phone. And if you read book, then make sure to have the appropriate lighting. Okay. All right, and there are, two notes. Oh, sorry, everyone, I meant to share this with you. So this is the hand position for all conditions of the nervous system of the brain. Once again, the steps similar to direct healing. While performing, transmitter visualizes sending energy to the brain and the entire spine. The transmitter should be flexible in how the hands are placed depending on the receiver's condition. But generally, this is how you would do it. Now, at the beginning, you put two hands on either side of the brain, sending energy into the receiver's brain. And then after 2 weeks to a month, then you can put one hand on the brain and one hand on the ERC. So as demonstrated in the third picture here. All right, so now I think it's time for our energy activation because I think that everyone's understand the formulas, you understand about the class content that we've talked about today. So, okay. So what you do is you would open your eyes during this energy activation. You look at my forehead, you visualize energy going from my forehead into yours, and continue to visualize energy going into your forehead for the entire durations of the activation. And keep that energy at your brain, okay? There's no need to direct it anywhere else, and you can do that until the alarm rings. So this energy activation is only for those who've already completed level 1, and you're now here for level 2 with all of the activation of level 1. And then for those who've already completed level 2 before and you are still in level 2 and you're here and you want to receive the activation again, then feel free to also do that. So before I send you the energy activation, I'll share with you this demonstration video so that we're all very clear on how we receive the energy activation. Okay, so see how you receive it into your brain. Okay, watch it one more time. And you just keep it there in your brain, okay? So you look at my forehead, you visualize energy coming from my forehead, going into yours. Okay, so I hope that it's nice and clear. All right. All right, so now I will get my timer. The timer will be set to 1 minute and 30 seconds. This is energy activation for level 2 participants, okay? Okay, so I hope that everyone is ready now. Okay, so let's start, right? All right, so congratulations everyone on receiving the energy activation for level 2. So let's practice the stem cell stimulation formula together now. I will put up the formula for you on the screen. I will also have an audio file that I'll play for you. Now, while I play the audio file, you don't need to read the formulas out loud. Okay, you can just think about it in your head. The timer will be set to 5 minutes and 30 seconds, as I assume that everyone here is above 18. So if you have, your children joining you here in level 2, then please set a separate timers for them. And of course, they can only practice if they too have received the energy activation that I sent out just now. Okay. All right, so now I will share with you the formula again on the screen. Okay. Here it is. And I will turn this video off now so that you can see better. So get ready, everyone, and get comfortable with the formula. And now I will start playing the audio for you so that we can go through this formula together. Okay.
This is practice session To receive Cosmic Divine Light New Era NLG Level 2 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. The timer will be set to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's begin. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive Cosmic Divine Light New Era NLG Level 2 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time. Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously direct energy into the brain to the ERC and continue sending it from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. Continuously support the energy. Maintain the warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings.
Okay, everyone. So congratulations on completing the stem cells stimulation formula. This is your first practice with the level 2 energy frequency. Okay, and we have officially completed level 2, everyone. And every day you can continue to practice this level 2 sets of formula until you participate in level 3. And then of course in level 3 you have your own formula. And now that you've already finished level 2, then you can explore and you can utilize the level 2 formulas. Now before we go, I do have these 2 notes that I think would help with your practice. Okay, so have a look here, and I will also send this out to you, for in the level 2 Telegram groups. Sorry. All right. Now, so for the level 2 formulas, what you do is, so here it say that practice 2 formulas every day. So the stem cell stimulation and self-healing every day. And you can practice continuously or 1 or 2 hours apart. Only level 2 students who have graduated from level 1 and receive activation from level 2 can practice these formulas. The remaining formulas, healing and healing others, that is, and encouraging family, can be used in case of helping others is needed. Practice requires full concentration for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. If you are distracted for more than 30 seconds, please don't count that practice, reset the timer and start again. Choose a quiet place to practice. Keep your eyes open, but you can blink. Choose a focus point or object, avoid using fan or air conditioner blowing directly on the body because you will not feel the warmth of energy. And you need to practice the formulas accurately every day, keeping good moral values, the 5 forms of love, and always maintain the +1 -1 frequency to receive great results. Now, in terms of the stem cells stimulation formula, when you practice the formula, the entire spine feels warm continuously for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. If that's the case, then you only need to practice this formula once a day. But in contrast, if you practice, but the entire spine does not feel warmth, then you can practice for the 2nd time and the 3rd time. So it's up to 3 times a day in a row or 1 or 2 hours apart. You should practice this formula at least 6 hours before going to bed, because late practice can lead to excess energy, causing difficulty sleeping. Then for self-healing formula, healthy or mildly ill people need to only practice self-healing once a day. In case of severe disease, then practice 2 times a day. Or healing, that is self-healing or receive healing support from someone else, should be spaced 6 hours apart. In case of emergency, for example, fatigue, discomfort, wanting to faint, you can practice self-healing right away and no need to wait for 6 hours. Okay. So as I've said, I will post these notes on our Telegram group so that you can have a look and you can practice accordingly. And also just keep in mind that we do have this QR code here. I'll share it again with you if anyone here hasn't joined. And you can scan these. Okay, so you can scan these. The first one is just the general NLG notification in English. And then you have level 1 and 2 English chat group, and you have the channel as well. So you can just scan this. If you need to, you can always go back to this part of the video and scan it so that you can get more information for level 1 and 2. And also, if you need to ask questions, feel free to reach out to us in this chat group. So this group in the middle here. Okay. Okay, and while I leave that on, I would just like to say thank you everyone for participating in this session. And as I realize that we've already gone over time, and I apologize for the technical issues that we experienced today a couple of times, but we certainly power through it, and we keep our love, our morality, our +1 - 1 frequency. So on behalf of all participants today, I'd like to say thank you to our energy founder, Mr. HOTLINE. A huge thank you to those who worked tirelessly to make this program work. And we thank you all, level 2 participant, for all your love, your support. And of course, I hope to see you in high levels classes of NLG. All right, so I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you so much for your support. All right.